8 now, we're going to do the vocabulary. So let's read through our vocabulary together. Alas, ale, Allah, other. Apostello, to sin, I sin.
Autos, aute, auta, same, self,
Baptizo, to baptize. Agero, I raise up. Arene, arenes, hey, peace. Ekanos, ekene, ekena, that. Exousia, exousias, a, authority. Heurisco, I find. Krino, I judge. Laas, lau, ha, people. Un, therefore, consequently, again postpositive, like de is. Hutas, haute, tuta, this. Hutos, thus or so. Prosopon, prosopon, process 2. Nobody talk, we'll do it again. Prosopon, prosopu, ta, face. Okay? The demonstrative pronoun. I said last time you had personal pronouns. What are the personal pronouns?
I, you, he, she.
Yeah. The ego.
Oh.
No, not a me is the verb. So, what are the pronouns? I is what?
Ego.
Ego. What is the genitive?
Emu.
Emu or mu. Moy or moy. Or me. Okay. Plurals? Emes. Emon. Emin. Emas. Okay. Now the second person is Sue, Sue, but look different. Sigma upsilon, sigma alpha upsilon. Sue, Sue. Soy, se. Humace, humon, humin, humas. Okay, good. Now, then you have your personal pronoun still, which is autos, but autos will also function more than a personal pronoun that we'll see soon. But autos, alte, alta, and so you can go like the as, u, o, on, the same way, right? So that you can follow that. Case, gender, number, masculine, and feminine, singular, right? Masculine, feminine, neuter, singular, plural. All right. So let's look at hutas. Hutas. Hutas, tutu. Like Bishop Tutu. Hutas, haute, tuta are your forms. The endings are pretty similar, which you've learned already. Asu, o-on, oion, oisus, right? Feminine, a pure ada. I'm sorry? What's the problem?
I have a different word than they have in their book.
His book is weird.
So is his.
You have a weird book.
Akenos, akene, or akena is he, she, or it in here. In theirs it says that.
What's your edition?
No.
Oh, this here is the, this seems to be a first edition, but third printing. Oh, cheers. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's why me and Adam looked at each other and we said, man, he just said that wrong. And then,
Well, I've been known to say things wrong.
Did you get yours online?
But see this right here? This is the first printing. That is a mistake.
okay.
Akenos is not he, she, or it. He, she, or it is autos, alte, alta. He, she, or it.
Okay.
This is Akenos, that one. Remember I said,
It says it right down here. So it's,
Hutas is this one, this man, this woman, this thing. Kenos is that man, that woman, that thing, or just that.
How do you know what printing it is?
if
I looked in front of the book.
Where is it?
yours is wrong.
You just have to know how to
Or
read.
yours is right. Yours is right. Yours is right.
This is the third printing, however.
Ours is right. Yours is right.
Oh, because it says 06, 05, 04?
Yeah.
Yeah.
03 is not there because it's the third, this is the third printing. It still has 4, 5, and 6 to go. One reason I know this is because with all the books I've done, you look in the front, it tells you which printing they've done.
Oh, so they're gonna print it again?
Yeah, they have that in there to know which printing it is. They can look at it and know what printing they have. So that's the first printing, so it was wrong when they put it in there. Which is what to show you. Now this makes me feel better, see, when I see these things, because you can know Greek and you still make these little bitty mistakes. I mean, I make them, and I get embarrassed a little bit sometimes when I do it, but I still do. And you'll make mistakes too. It's hard to, all the technical little details, it's hard to keep all straight. Particularly when you don't think this way anymore. I don't even think this way anymore. So I just read, and I know certain things, and I check out certain things. I don't think about these little bitty little details anymore. And they get past you. But I'm glad to see that it's been corrected here, that. Now, look at the demonstrative again, hutas. Hutas haute tuta. That's pretty simple to say. And you've learned the azuoon in the same way, that the pure eta and then the neuter, and you got it down. So you've already learned the forms. Except you just realize that hutas tutu. Notice it changes. But remember how the article does? Ha, hey, ha. Cancel. Ha, hey, ta. And then it goes to tu, doesn't it? Drops to tel. Same thing. Hutas, tutu. Tuto, tuta, and so forth. Any questions on the formation of these? Notice a rough breathing mark now. Hutas, haute.
It's only in the nominative?
Yes. Again, like ha, he, ta.
Wow.
In the article. Same thing. Hutas, and then hutoi, haitai, and so forth. Tauta. Taute, actually. Okay, now, the form of the demonstrative, now, he doesn't say this right here, and let's see if he does over here. He doesn't really say it. Oh, here, finally he says it, syntax. Near demonstrative, far demonstrative. That's usually the terms that are used. Okay? Again, here, this book, that book. These books, those books. That's what we're talking about. Hutas, akenas. Actually, I'd have to say, since if I used it to agree with gender, I would say this is tuta, and akena in that sense. Okay, because the book is a biblion, which is a neuter, if I were doing Greek. But for our purposes, this book, that book, these books, those books, hutas, akenas, that's how it works. Any questions on that?
What if it was his book? It would still
His would be ta biblion autu,
Okay.
the book of him,
Okay.
his book.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But what if it was the book of this one, this one's book, the book that belongs to this one?
So it have to be...
Ta biblion tutu, the book of this one.
Okay.
Understand?
Sort of like a substantive. Yeah.
For now.
It's essentially like an adjective.
Yeah.
Okay, go to top of page 40.
So the word demonstrative,
Yeah.
It demonstrates this, that. That's why they call it demonstrative. Near and far. Okay, now, page 42. Certain forms of the demonstrative hutas are very similar to the corresponding forms of the third person pronoun autas. And you already see that, don't you? Autas, aute, auta. Autu, auto. Autes, auto, and so forth. Autu. So you have essentially the same endings with autas, aute, auta, with hutas, haute, tuta, and with akenas, akena, akene, akena. So the endings are all pretty well the same in all these forms. That should help a little bit. The pronouns and adjectives should help you because they follow the same kind of Now, to distinguish them from one another, remember that forms of hutas are always accent on the first syllable, always begin with the tau or with a breathing mark. Okay, I don't know how much that helped that is really. Again, you can read that, I don't think there's much help there. Okay, number 50, paragraph 50, syntax of the demonstrative. Demonstratives are words that specify or point out a person or thing. They may be used with nouns as adjectives or by themselves as pronouns. For example, I could look and say this one, or I could say this man. Right? Pronoun take the place of a noun. And so it's like a substitute too, though, isn't it? This one. Right? You with me? Okay. When a Greek, here it is. When a Greek demonstrative is used with a noun, like hutas or kenos, it stands regularly in the predicate position. What do I mean by that?
After.
No, not so much after a noun. A predicate position says that the noun has the article, and the word going with it does not have an article, right? Predicate position.
Identifies the noun.
Agathos ha anthropos. The man is good. Or ha agathos anthropos. Cancel. Ha anthropos agathos. The man is good. But put it in the attributive position would be ha agathos anthropos. Or ha agathos anthropos. Remember, attributive is when they both have the article. Essentially, it's when the adjective has the article. Okay? Predicate position is when it does not have the article, but the noun has the article. So that's what he's saying is that your noun will have an article, a kenos or hutas, and its various declensions will not have an article. You with me?
I'm looking where he says that. That's in.
Yep. You understand what I'm saying? Do I need to write it up here? It's
Page 43.
Yeah.
Second paragraph of the 50.
like a kenos. Kenos, and then you're going to have the article here with anthropos. See, that is in the predicate position because the noun has the article. The kenos, the demonstrative pronoun, does not have an article. That's a predicate position. I could put this in front of here, and that'd be okay too. It's going to agree with it in case and number. And it's going to be in close proximity to it, actually, in Greek. Close proximity, real close. But it's also going to be clear that this is without the article and with the article when it goes with it. That's pretty simple, really. Now, a demonstrative pronoun, again, will agree in case, gender, number with this noun. Thus, hutas halithos, or lithos hutas, halithos, this stone, or this sister, or this gift, or that slave, or those lives or souls, and those boats. In other words, all of those are occurring in the predicate position and agreeing in case, gender, number. Should be clear what goes with what. I don't think you'll find this difficult. Now, when a demonstrative stands alone, it is a pronoun. And you see that a lot in Greek. It occurs all the time. Oh, by the way, here's that A without the accent. Let's see. Let's find some examples of that.
2 Timothy 3:1.
Well, okay, we could turn to one you already found.
Where's the fun in that?
I think it occurs almost on every page of Greek. So, what was yours? 2 Timothy 3:1?
Yeah, I think.
Again, it occurs all the time, so you're going to see it. You think?
Job 360.
2 Timothy 3:1?
Uh-huh.
Well, we'll see here. If I could find 2 Timothy 3:1, I'd be in better shape with it. Okay, tuta. Actually, now that is gnoske, which you don't know yet. This is an imperative. Know this, that the tuta here is a demonstrative pronoun, and it is accusative here as the object of the gnoske, which is an imperative. See, is there any others I could find as a just I see another one in verse 14 of chapter 2, but that again is an object there. I was trying to find one that functions as a subject.
How about 2 Timothy 3:6?
No, go back. Let's see. You're studying 2 Timothy right now?
I was just open, and you said it was
Out of
about
these
everything,
things.
so I started looking for them.
Yeah, but that's again not functioning as a
Not the
subject.
subject.
No, I was looking for a subject.
Come on, Graham.
I mean, I see it, for example, in verse 8 of chapter 4 of 2 Timothy. You know, there you have use it with a preposition, in that day. You know, akene te harema, you know that one. Harema. In that day. And of course, it's in a predicate position with te harema, harema. I can't even talk. Hemera is the articular with the predicate position of the kanos there. Let's see. Anyway, you see these all over the place, and you can use it as just a pronoun in itself, or it can be used actually to function as modification. So the thing on this is, listen to this carefully, then, because in a normal adjectival situation you're thinking of, you're thinking about having it modifying the noun. Like a regular adjective is going to be articular to modify the noun. And yet this is in a predicate position. It's not translated like a predicate, though. It's not saying the man is that, or what is it? Yeah. A man is that. The man is that one. It's not translated like a predicate, even though it's in a predicate position. It's translated that man. Its function, it's translated like an attributive, but it's in a predicate position. You with me? Don't make a mistake here, because you could think, well, it's in predicate, so you translate with an is. But it's translated like an attributive. This man knows the Lord. This man is knowing the Lord. We are seeing this thing, or this woman, I guess it's here, because it's a neuter, it's a feminine. These ones, understood, hutoi, are believing. These persons are believing. Akanai, that's the those, again, women are probably what he's talking about. Those women are teaching the child. Let's see. After these things, that one is sending a messenger. Okay, so that's essentially what you get here. Now, for special usages of autos. Now, here's the thing he promised you in the last chapter, but now we need to look at it. And you'll see this a lot in Greek. You got to pick these things up. Autos is versatile. Saw in paragraph 46 that it functions as a third-person pronoun, like we said before. Ta, biblion, autu, the book of him. That is to say, his book. Personal pronoun. But sometimes it's not used that way. It's used in a more of a attributive sense, or even a predicate sense. So in the nominative case, it may be emphatic. For example, I am teaching him. Emphatic. I am teaching, but Now, what's the pronoun is in the verb, kue, right? And I said that if you have an expressed subject of the verb, then you don't translate the he of the verb, right? You translate the subject. Here the autos is functioning in that sense as a pronoun. I'm teaching, but he himself is not hearing. It's emphasis, himself. You can say it by he himself, or you can just say he, he, it's emphasis. This is an important passage in Romans chapter 8 on this that I know years ago when I used to think a little differently in these areas. I would read this passage. It's amazing how you can read a passage to say something it doesn't say. I mean, I was trying to make this passage fit my experience. And unfortunately,
That's not right.
That's not right, no.
Unfortunately.
I said unfortunately, I believe.
I know, and I said unfortunately.
Yes. 26. And likewise also the Spirit, see here, is assisting actually. Soon means together with, anti is instead of, lambano means to receive, take or receive. So it's taking, so the word all comes together is taking in our stead along with us, is how the word comes together. Assisting us in our weakness for the thing, here's the article functioning without a specified noun with it. The thing which we should ask, even as it is necessary that we know, but the Spirit Himself, and here you have ta pneuma. You with me? Anybody looking at that? Ta pneuma. The Spirit. Here you have ta, modifying the Spirit, but the Spirit Himself, intensification.
It was Romans 8.
8:26.
26. Page 3.
Yeah. Well, for what thing we should request or ask, just as is necessary, that we do not know, but the Spirit Himself. And the word here, people translates that usually intercedes or something of the sort. And groanings that do not have words. I just think this used to refer to speaking in tongues. We don't know what to pray, so the Spirit prays through us to God in tongues we don't know. What's so interesting is the text, first of all, it says it's the Spirit Himself that prays, which means Himself intensifying, that it's Him who does it.
It's not us.
Not us. And secondly, it's not through us, it's in our behalf. And thirdly, it's without any words. It's really hard to pray in tongues without words. So the thing just says just the opposite of what I used to read it to say. And yet I, regularly took it to mean this until I started looking at the text. But the thing I want to show you here is just the fact that it uses an intensification of autos. Autos, auta. Let's go and look at it now. But the Spirit Himself is what I said here. Here it says, He Himself is hearing. But in conjunction with nouns, autos has special adjectival usages. Now we're going to look at nouns. One of these is the intensive use, which is what I just showed you. In this use, autos stands in the predicate position with a noun. Can you see that in 8:26? Notice, predicate position. No article. The number and gender of the accompanying noun determine the exact translation. Thus, autos ha anthropos, the man himself, Alte he Adelphe, the sister herself, or Alta ta erga, the deed itself. Or hoi, huioi altoi, the sons themselves. You could have that altoi hoi huioi also say the same thing. In some constructions, the translation very or that very may be suitable in that hour, or in that very hour. In other words, the specific hour is what he's emphasizing. It's an intensive idea. In that hour, that specific hour, and not some other hour, that hour. The intensive use occurs with pronouns and even with unexpressed subjects. For example, autas su leges. Su means you. Leges means you. Leges is a singular. Su is a singular. Autas then functions as a superintensifier here. It's because, see, if I say su leges, that means already you yourself. Just by that already means you yourself. But now you got autas su leges. So it means, you know, you yourself. It's intensifying the verb. Very strong. It's like yelling. Okay? Autas ego krino. See, ego itself means I. Krino means I myself. So actually, ego krino means I myself am judging. But then you have autos in addition, which is, again, a superintensification of it. Note that as an intensive adjective, autos is by no means limited to the third person. It may intensify first, second, or third person subject. Now this is confusing. You notice that autos here is not going with a, again, by itself, autos is a third person personal pronoun, right? Is that correct?
Yes.
It's a third person personal pronoun already. But then it occurs with things that are not third person in nature. Ego is a first, su is a second. And so here you have a third person personal pronoun function with first and second personal pronouns. And in that situation, it is not a personal pronoun. It is an intensive pronoun. That's a difference. What would normally be a personal pronoun is now an intensive pronoun. Do you understand me? You're going to get this confused if you don't pay real special attention to it. After a while, it's second nature, but until then, it won't be. And you're going to see this third personal pronoun, you're going to try to figure out, what's this thing doing here? It can be that it's intensifying a pronoun. Or it could be just intensifying a verb. Okay? Okay, a special sense, or a second special use of autos is the identical use. In this use, autos stands in the attributive position. What is predicate position?
Without the article.
Without the article, with the articular noun in close proximity. What is the attributive position?
They both have the article.
Well, both may have an article, but the key
Noun.
is that the noun, no.
That.
The key is that the adjective has an article. This is functioning adjectively here. Okay, like an adjective, like agathos. So, for example, ha autos logos means the same word. If it was ha logos autos,
The word itself?
no, it wouldn't be that.
The word itself?
The word itself.
See,
If it was predicate position, it would be the word itself. But when it becomes articular, then it becomes an attributive position. It means the same word. Identical. Or hagathos, or excuse me, ha logos, ha autos. But again, that's just like a ha anthropos, ha agathos, or ha agathos, ha anthropos. The adjective has the article. In this second situation, the noun also has the article. That's attributive position. Question? Got a question,
Yeah,
Brian?
well, I'm just trying to get all this straight.
Yeah.
So
It's
like,
just gonna take a lot of reading over, I think.
yeah, I think so too. Cause, okay, so you can use autos, which means he or it,
Regularly a
right?
pronoun, third person personal pronoun, autos. Sometimes it's used as a simple personal pronoun.
Okay. Like, but it can even mean I?
No.
Okay, well, what's this with autos, ego, krinos?
It's intensifying the I.
Right.
Here, three options. Here we are. Regular pronoun. Sometimes it's used in a predicate position with a noun to intensify it.
Okay.
The man himself, the law.
And it
the
doesn't
word
always have to match with,
It will. It's not. It will match when it's with a when it's functioning in a predicate position. It will agree and number. And it does. And ego doesn't have gender.
right,
Since they can't say a gender, and it does. And it's not really. It would be with it in case, so it'd be basically, it would have to be autos. It could be auto, for example. It has to be autos.
okay, so it matches in case and number,
The thing it's going with.
but it could be a third person,
And it's not a third person there.
well, autos, though.
It's only a pronoun when it's functioning like a pronoun.
Okay,
It's a third personal pronoun. It normally functions like a pronoun, but it can jump outside of its normal way of functioning as a pronoun and also function as an
so
intensifier.
it
like
just
an adjective.
intensifies whatever it's attached to.
And intensifies is what it goes with. In a predicate position, intensifies. But in the attributive position, it identifies. It says it's the same as, the same boat, the same this, the same that, the same man you just saw come in. That is the identical man. It functions that way. That's attributive position.
Okay, so
So
how,
three basic functions.
How do you determine what masculine, feminine, and neuter? If, like Diego, since that doesn't have a.
Well, ego, see, you can't do that. That doesn't help. The pronoun, it's going to go with the pronoun in whatever case and number it is, because it wouldn't make any sense. It's functioning like a predicate. But it doesn't function it can't function in gender with the pronoun, because I and you in Greek doesn't have gender. But let's say it occurs with something else,
Like boat.
then it's not the same issue. So you have a unique usage. It's intensification, though.
Because you can't intensify boat,
Um,
but you could have the identical
Like
use.
the boat itself.
well, yeah, you could. I'm just trying to think. You could have, for example, direct object. He is painting the boat itself. Yeah. But there it would agree. Again, it has to agree with the. See, it's unique with. It's unique operating with a pronoun over against a noun. If it operates with a noun, it's also going to be in the same gender. See, the pronoun, the first, second pronoun doesn't have gender, so it can't be. But if it's with a noun, it's going to agree with the gender also.
so if it means, if it is a third person, what do you call it?
Pronoun.
Then it's not gonna be functioning with a noun.
Yes, it's going to function as a noun. It's not going to seek to agree with a noun.
I mean, with a noun, you know what I'm saying? Is it not?
It can agree with a noun, but okay, let me go back. If it's functioning as a regular pronoun, it's either describing or possessing a noun.
Right.
Then it's really functioning like a pronoun, but it's not going to agree with it in case, gender, number.
Right.
On the other hand, if it's functioning, other than that pronoun example I gave you, if it's functioning with a noun, it's going to agree with that noun as a predicate in case, gender, number. It's going to agree with the noun if it's functioning like an attributive position in case, gender, number. It's not going to agree with a pronoun in case, gender, number, because pronoun I and you don't have gender.
Right.
But it still agree with it in case and number.
Okay, so I'm
But
just,
it can define the gender, right? Define it, like,
it
'cause
could be if it was feminine.
Um,
It's
they show, autai humes, corrected.
Where?
In the second, or no, in the third example,
On the first, the big paragraph?
Yeah, the biggest paragraph on page
Let's see
43.
here. Autos sui leges, you yourself, addressing a man. Okay, that's what he's saying here. Autos, I myself, okay. That's what you're saying, you, that is women, okay, that's what you're talking about.
So if it was like
But see, but your pronoun doesn't have any gender, but you're saying the fact is they use a feminine form, it tells you that the you is a feminine.
right,
So like the autos ego krino would be on myself, a man speaking judge, but if it was like aute ego krino, it would be a woman speaking.
Right, that's what they're saying. But again, it's because it has all the adjectival genders and numbers and everything. But it's actually not modifying at that point a gender that's not there.
So I'm just wondering, like, could it ever appear to be like in the form of an adjectival adjective? You know,
An adjectival.
well,
Yeah, I would say that's
attributive
That's
adjective.
truism.
That's what I meant. Attributive adjective.
Well, that's what we're looking at. The second example is attributive, and the attributive it's always translated the same.
Okay. But when it's in attributive, then it's just when it's in a predicate, it's always an emphatic. And when
It's
it's
an
in
intensive,
attributive,
yes.
when it's attributive,
When it's attributive, it's not intensive, it's identifying.
identifies, okay, and then sometimes it can appear in a whole another sense.
As a regular
Just
pronoun.
regular pronoun.
You got three uses: pronoun, intensifier, identifier. That's
Okay,
it.
and the forms, what I'm wondering is the pronoun form and the attributive form, can they look alike sometimes? Can they sometimes not be?
Yeah, I can conceive of a situation where you're trying to decide whether it's a.
You can't tell.
Here, I know an example. I'll give you. I think I just came up with one in my head here. Let's say let's see. I am hearing the word, and let's do this. Takes the genitive case. Okay, now two. That actually is in a predicate position there in the genitive. So that's the article. It's agreeing in case genitive number with logo. I'm hearing his word, or I'm hearing the word itself.
Right, and that's why I
Is
was
that what you're saying?
confused, is because I
Yeah.
was thinking of situations like that where,
Does that make sense to you?
uh,
You can probably take it either way. Again, context is going to tell you a lot.
right,
But I would probably normally think it says I am hearing his word. But that's a harder one because, for example, if I took a kuo, it also goes into the, what are the case? Genitive or accusative? Now, I'm hearing the word
so,
huh?
the
Come on.
word itself.
No, it couldn't be a word itself, because it doesn't agree with this.
Hearing the same word?
Oh,
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
yeah.
that should be a news one, I
That's kind of like,
meant. Okay.
okay, so I'm hearing his word.
I'm hearing, it could be the word itself, right? Because it would have to agree with the predicate with the case unit number.
Okay.
This is easier. You know that's not it.
Right.
This one here could be one or the other. And do you run into that in Greek? Yes. Sometimes you're not sure. Okay, questions?
I guess just to be straight, the predicate position intensifies the attributive position, I guess, identifies.
Identifies, that's what I said.
Okay, and then otherwise it's just.
Third personal pronoun, regular pronoun.
Okay.
What's happening is autos sometimes functions like an adjective when it intensifies or identifies with the predicate or attributive position. And usually it functions like a regular pronoun. Okay. All right, here's a summary of the construction learned to this point. Hagios, you with me on page 44? Hagios, hagios, artos, or artos, hagios. It's hard to say hagios. Anyway, the holy bread, attributive position. Or hagios, artos, the bread is holy. Or hutos, artos, this bread, predicate position, but sounds like a attributive. Or far, akanos, artos, that bread. Or autos, artos, autos, artos, the bread itself. Or autos, artos, the same bread. Or artos, autou, his bread. Or artos, autes, her bread. So those are the variations. That should help. Okay, now, at this point, I'm not going to give you the exercises. You're going to have to do those. And so, see, I'm not sure how much. Did you guys get all the ones done from lesson 6, lesson 7?
The
Get it all done?
practice review in English to Greek.
Yeah, practice all the English to Greek and all the English and all the Greek to English, right? And how long did it take you to do that?
Couple hours.
A couple hours? Now listen, this is a 4-hour class. You should be spending at least 8 hours outside of class in preparation for it. I assume you're doing that?
At least.
At least 8?
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to kill you. I'm not sure how much you can do at a time.
Appreciate that.
If I killed you, you couldn't be in class, Cyrus, and I need you in class.
I don't know, I
Every
appreciate
Monday night. So, what I'd like to do is now we've covered this, then this is what I'm trying to get to the point. We've covered it now, you can do this having covered it, and next week we can go over it. That way we're rehearsing at that point instead of doing it the same chapter. That's where I'm trying to get to, so we have done that now. 14's quite a bit. Why don't you do all the odd in lesson 52. All the odd. That would be 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13. For those of you who don't understand that.
And English degree.
All of them.
They're all pretty odd to me.
I want you to do all English to Greek because I think that a lot of important learning takes place in English to Greek.
Yeah,
We'll
those
do
are
the
hard
same
ones.
with 9. You want us to do some with 9 too for next week?
Yeah, we're gonna start next week. We're also gonna cover lesson 9. Oh, we've got enough time tonight. We could almost do lesson 9. That may be too much to do.
Hey, I know you could cover it.
But I know there's only so much information you can take in.
That's the trick.
It's
Read-
catching up, not so much taking, I can follow you here. It's catching up.
So next time, read lessons 9 and 10.
Next time is for next class. You won't go
Next class period, read ahead lessons 9 and 10. But try to get the exercise you do will be to finish the stuff in lesson 8 for me, and try to go ahead and have prepared thinking through lesson 9 and 10. And the next time what I'll give you probably is for exercise will be to do either even or odd of what you find in 9 and what you find in 10 for the next time for going over. See what I'm saying? We're sort of getting ourselves going now so that you can hand in next time the exercise from lesson 8. We'll go over lesson 9 and 10, and you'll have the next time the exercises for 9 and 10. That makes sense?
Mhm.
That's what I, okay. Because that way we've had a chance to do it before you have to actually do your
Should
exercise.
we,
We'll go through the chapter before you have to do the exercises.
do we have to know by next week then all of the vocabulary up through lesson 10?
You should learn the vocabulary as you go through it. I mean, I assume that when you come to class, you've worked on your vocabulary. Yeah.
But if you were to give a quiz next week, it would be on through 10 on vocabulary.
If I were to give a quiz next week, it would probably be up to through where you supposedly read.
10. So that would
Yeah,
be 10.
through 10. I see vocabulary as such, it's memory. So you should work on your vocabulary every week as you read. So I haven't given you a quiz on vocabulary yet. True. It's a good idea. I think it's John Freeman. Hadn't thought about that. I could actually do that tonight. Got a little extra
No,
time.
I don't.
This gives us preparation to do
You're
it.
great.
We're going to have to give up our Saturday and our Friday and our Thursday.
Who would get it?
You know, that's true. That's
Yeah.
true. I really am burdening you this week.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
I just
All right.
read lesson
All right.
9.
Do your reading. Do you just read through it. I'll go over it in class, work on your vocabulary, and work on these every other sentence plus the English, and you got enough for next Monday.
Okay, is it just in lesson 8 or?
All you have to hand in to me next week is the exercises, Greek to English, English to Greek, in lesson 8.
Okay.
And I will not test you on vocabulary next time, but I am going to be testing you soon. You're going to get a real good test in the final exam.
Yeah.
Because I'm probably going to put maybe at least 50 words on the exam that you have to know.
Now, do you go from English to Greek in that, or
Greek. I'll give you Greek words, and you have to be able to give me vocabulary.
In learning it, you know, yeah, I do it both, but do you find it better to learn, you know, looking at the Greek word and then deciphering the English, or going, I mean, just, you know, what's the emphasis? I do both, but I just wonder if there's a more
No,
specific-
I do the Greek. You do the Greek. You look at the Greek word doron, doru, ta, and say gift. Say it out loud, look at it, write it, and say it. Do it all. If I were doing it, I'd write doron, doru, ta, gift. And I would say it and write it and look at it simultaneously. That's the best way to learn it. Now, sometimes you can't do that going down the highway. And I used to do a lot of Greek, you know, with my cards. Make little cards up. And when I would stop signs, when I'm going down the highway and nobody's in the way, I just look at it real quick. Not a long time, just look at it real quick and just say, okay, doron, doru, ta.
That's what I was doing on the way here.
So just work on the Greek, just go over it again and again. There's no substitution for going over it again. And, you know, when I was doing Greek, my goodness, when I was in the checkout line, waiting on groceries, I was going over my Greek cards. When I was driving on the highways, going over my Greek cards.
How old were you then?
How old was I?
Yeah, when you took Greek.
Let me think just a moment. No, actually I started learning Greek when I was in high school, but actually I took it formally. I was 20. 20 years old.
Is that when you?
No, it couldn't be that. It must have been, I got married when I was almost 19.
Wow.
So,
He's an
actually I started Greek right before I turned 20. A long time ago. And I had 30 academic hours of Greek. I had to read, I had a class in Plato and Aristotle, I had a class in Homer, I think I had a class in the Apostolic Fathers, and I had a class in first, second year Greek, and it was all grammar. And I had a class in reading in advanced grammar in Aristophanes and such. It was really a lot of fun.
You had said that you would place more emphasis an OTS on the languages. Is there any seminary that has a year and a half of each?
A year and a half.
Isn't that what
There
we
are
have?
a few seminaries that have 2 years worth of Greek. You know, first year, second year.
We have, what, one and a half, right?
No, you have equivalents. If I consider I got a Greek 1, Greek 2, and then you have intermediate Greek, and then you have reading Greek. That's like Greek the 3, let's say Greek 4. You got about 4 years of Greek.
And that we have in the equivalent of Hebrew as well, so.
4 years of Hebrew.
And then, what, a year of Aramaic?
Actually, no, it won't be. You know, I've already started working on the Aramaic issue, and we will. I've got it worked out, so we'll probably we'll tie Aramaic to the end of Hebrew. So after you've got a good grasp on Hebrew, then I'll slip an Aramaic course in you, which will be probably equal to, let's say, like a Thursday, Friday night, and a Saturday. Because all you have to do is basically do a little transposition of a few things in Hebrew that are there, and for example, the thing you see in Greek, Eloi, Eloi, over against Eli, Eli. One's Hebrew, one's Eloi is the Aramaic, Eli is the Hebrew, very close. Just a few odds and ends, things like that. And you just have to learn to read about, I don't know, what, about 40 or 50 verses in the entire Hebrew Old Testament that's in Aramaic. So you just basically interact with those portions.
When Christ was speaking, did he normally speak in Aramaic, Greek?
There's really a debate on that question. It was thought for a real long time. That every time the Greek Testament said which is from the, you know, I can't think of how it says it, something like, which is in the Hebrew such and such. The scholars said, well, actually they're using the word Hebrew, but actually they mean Aramaic. But there's a lot of scholarship now that's saying actually they spoke a lot more Hebrew than people take credit for. In other words, that Jesus spoke a lot of Hebrew too. So Hebrew was being used because remember, not everybody among the Jews in 586 went back to Babylon. A lot of the people stayed in Israel and continued with their native language, which was Hebrew. And they went back to Babylon. Of course, the ones in Babylon were heavily influenced by Aramaic because that was the lingua franca, and that was also the language of Babylon at that time. And those people, but even remember, not a lot of those people who were Jews in Babylon came back to Israel. We sometimes get these things all mixed up. I mean, first of all, the deportation does not mean that everybody went back to Babylon, just certain groups. A lot of people stayed. And the people in Babylon, not that many came back from Babylon because they had already there a couple of generations, had homes, families, so forth. And so a few came back. So they didn't come back with a great number that just overwhelmed the people. So actually you probably had, in the land of Judea and Samaria, you probably had Aramaic spoken, you had Hebrew spoken, you had Greek spoken a little bit, and Latin a little bit. Because
He could have been speaking depending on the group.
Jesus probably knew some Latin. He probably knew a lot of Greek. Probably knew a lot of Greek because Greek. Remember, Jesus spent time in the Galilee, which was largely Greek. If you know that, the Galilee was a very Greek-oriented group of people. So Jesus was around Greek in the Galilee, Hebrew and Aramaic probably in Jerusalem, and Latin being around Nazareth, which is a Roman military post. So he'd have been around a lot of Latin with Nazareth right there where he lived. So he would have known at least those 4 languages. And clearly he read Hebrew because they read Hebrew in the synagogue. And so, anyway.
So is Greek just the language that they always wrote in at that time?
Greek is the language of the world in isolated places. For example, if you had gone to Iconium or Lystra, everybody in Iconium and Lystra probably spoke Greek fluently. But they also knew their own dialect of Iconium or Lystra, whatever their language group was. So everybody had their own little dialects, and then you had their own language the whole world spoke.
Okay. So that's what it's written.
Well, it's like today. I mean, go down to Tonga. When I go to Tonga, everybody I speak to is speaking English.
Yeah.
But when they speak to themselves, you start listening to them, they start speaking in Tongan. They're not speaking in English to each other, they speak in Tongan to each other. But every time they confront me, they start speaking in English. And they'll speak to me in English with each other. When I'm there, but when I move away, I start hearing them going back to Tongan. It's the same thing.
But I guess I was thinking, when you start thinking, what did he actually say? You know, Matthew's writing down.
Oh, what did Matthew, did Jesus say it in Greek, or did he say it in Aramaic or Hebrew, and Matthew put it in Greek?
Yeah, those letters in red.
The letters, I wish they were, they're not read in the manuscripts.
Yeah, he's spoken.
They're not.
They would if they had.
That's the difference between what they call the ipsissima verba. Ipsissima verba, the words, the very words itself, are ipsissima vox. The voice of Jesus are the very words of Jesus. Are the words. Now, I have no doubt that many of the words that we have in the Greek text are very words of Jesus. Some. Majority are probably translated in the Greek. Majority is translated in the Greek. So you're not getting the identical words of Jesus. Now see, what we've claimed is that the Bible as we have it is the very words of God. Each of these Greek words and Hebrew words, those are the words of God. Even if Jesus spoke it in Aramaic, it came in inspired in Greek. So the authority is in the Greek text, not in the Aramaic, what used to be spoken.
Although when he spoke it was authoritative.
Authoritative then too.
Well, everything God's ever said is authoritative, but not everything Jesus said was inspired. So the word inspired is a very specific term. Refer to the inscripturization. It's referring to the written authoritative text, not to verbal statements made. Everything Jesus ever said was fully authoritative and infallible. But not everything that Jesus says in the Scripture. But everything's in the Scripture is infallible and inspired. We're going to deal with this in our class in inspiration.
Trinitarianism would be interesting.
Huh?
Trinitarianism, is that what you're doing next term?
Next term is Trinitarianism, yeah, that would be good. That's a good class. Oh, I love theology. And we've been talking prolegometers, a little bit more philosophical in argumentation. We're about to move into the text now, which is where I get excited more.
Yeah.
I'm much more of an exegetical theologian than I am philosophical.
In those classes, they don't build. Well, they kind of build off each other, but you can jump in.
You can take different ones, sure. Just like you can pick up a systematic theology and read the different sections. Yeah. But there is a certain sense of cohesion within a topic area. Well, listen, enjoyed being with you tonight, and let me make sure you understand this now. Your assignment that you will hand in to me, and we will go over in class, and I'll call you out, will be
Section 8 on.
yes, the exercises 52, and also with the practice and review in English to Greek. Okay, you'll be open for all of those, and then you'll be expected to know vocabulary 9 and 10. But I'll promise not to test you because of this weekend. And you need to have read through 9 and 10 so that I can read through it with you and explain it to you, so that by the next time, then you will have assignments due the next time from 9 and 10, okay?
So we're going to turn in lesson 8,
That's all you turn in next time, lesson 8.
and that's the practice and review.
Greek to English, English to Greek.
And that's odd for the first ones, then all for the other.
Correct.
Okay.
Everybody with me? Tell you what, I usually keep you longer, but I'll let you go tonight.
Thank you.
Here's what I have.